If you've been hurt on the money bubble or at the river, you may be entitled to compensation. Call 1-555-SUCK-DEALER to speak with one of our legal experts. That's 1-555-SUCK-DEALER. Call today. Paid for by the law offices of Busto, Tilt, and Rivers. Hello and welcome back. I'm Anthony, and this is episode 5 of my PLO vlog. I want to first thank 2+2 forum member Larry Grill, who pointed out that he noticed the majority of players in the hand replay all had the same picture. And when I initially set this up, my thought process was that I was going to select images based on player types. So, you know, old man coffee, a solid pro, a passive player, or, you know, someone who's overly aggressive, or I just viewed as bad. I pictured, you know, I selected images based on the player type. So the player pool that I'm in my opinion, has a lot of players that are either overly aggressive or are bad. And so you wind up seeing a lot of these same images for the majority of people at the table. And it's not as aesthetically pleasing as one would like. And so I do appreciate Larry pointing that out. And hello, Sir Purrs.
Dogs on the floor! Dogs on the floor! Dogs on the floor!
So what I've done is, for this episode, I wasn't able to make the change for the majority of the hands. You will see in the final hand, I do change the player graphics. I had already set up the other hands already, so those were already processed. But the final hand, you will see a change, and moving forward, you will see a change as well. In this episode, we have over $7,500 worth of all-in pots played, some big pots, and let's just jump right into it. Playing 5-10 three-handed, we're in the small blind on a stack of $560, and we have the 7-6-6-4 suited to the 6 in clubs. And both of our opponents are going to limp in here. We're going to complete, and we're going to go to a flop here, which comes down Jack 5-3 rainbow. And in this spot, we have flopped a wrap straight draw, so we can hit the 7, we can hit the 6, we can hit the 4, we can hit the deuce. And this flop obviously favors us from the blinds, but also by our specific hand as well. So we don't want them to pick up any, flush draws on the turn, hit a heart or something, or some type of Broadway card, 2 pair or something like that. So we're going to lead right out for pot here. We bet the $30. Only the button's going to come along. The turn comes the 9 of clubs, and there is some concern that our opponent here could have picked up top 2 pair with a Jack 9 or something, but where the club has hit now, we've picked up additional equity. We now have a gut shot with the 8. Will complete a straight for us as well now, as well as, the runner clubs. So now we can hit a club as well. So in this spot, I'm comfortable to continue betting. I'm going to lead out for $90, and we get the bad news. Our opponent makes it $360. So I'm ranging him probably on a 2 pair, or he might have picked up a bigger straight draw, with like an 8-10 wrap or something. But at this point, I feel like we do have enough equity. We have enough cards that we can hit that. I'm comfortable going with it. Our stack sizes are small compared to the pot. So I'm going to get my stack in. He gets his in. He shows up with the ace, jack, jack 6. So he did flop top set. He slow played it on the flop, which was a relatively safe flop in the grand scheme of things, but against my specific hand, not so much. On the flop, if we had gotten it in, he would have been a 60% equity favorite. I was about 40%. But once we see that turn, which gives us the 8s as an out, as well as the clubs as an out, we come closer to a coin flip. I'm going to have 47.5% equity. He's got 52.5%. We are going to agree to run it twice. The first run out's going to come the 9, making him a full house. And so we need that second board. Let's see. And it comes the king of diamonds. So we're going to get scooped on this one. We do not hit any of our outs, and we do lose the flip.
5-0. Let's go! Five's been good. Second place. Big bucks, stop! Stop it, oh. Oh, Mark. Now, you have 3 whammies, $0, 3 spins.
I gotta go.
One more, you're out of the game, Mark. Okay. Here we go.
Big bucks.
Anything
big
but a whammy.
Big bucks, stop!
Stop it, oh. Oh, Mark, it was quick, I'll tell you that.
It was quick.
Yeah,
It was
well,
fun,
you're
but it was
out of
quick.
the game.
We're playing 5-10 with a $20 straddle on four-handed. We are on a short stack of a little over $500 in the small blind, holding the ace, queen, queen, jack, no suits. The $20 straddler is going to be in the cutoff. The button is going to make the call. In this spot, we could raise, but I'm going to just call here. I don't like not having suits or playing out of position. Our hand definitely has some potential with straights and full house draws, but again, not having suits weakens us quite a bit. So we're going to make the call, and now a short stack player with under $400 next to act is going to raise to $100. Both of the other players are going to get out of the way. And then this spot, screw this guy. He's trying to take advantage. I don't think he's, if he's got aces or kings here, God bless him. But me having the ace blocker and having a pair in my hand should make me an equity favorite most of the time against his range, given his short stack and given what I know of this player. So I'm going to, repot. Let's get it in. Let's play for stacks, buddy. So he does shove. He gets it in. We're up against the ace, king, four, deuce. He does have a suit in diamonds to his king. The four and the deuce are just terrible cards. I mean, granted, they connect with the ace to make wheels, but they're not strong enough to get too crazy with. But, he decides to get crazy. He wants to play for a stack. All right, let's go. So in this spot, when we get the stacks in, I'm about a 55% equity favorite. So a little bit better than a coin flip. Not a ton, but, we do cover him, and we like our hand enough to go with it. So we do get it in. The flop is going to come down 8-6-5 with two spades. So no one has any flush draw here or backdoor flush draw. Pretty safe board. He does have a gut shot if he can hit a 3, but on the flop, we are now up to 60% equity, and the turn is going to come down good as well. That's going to be the 6 of hearts, and so now we're looking at a little bit over 77% equity to win this pot. So we're feeling pretty confident, pretty comfortable, and again, this gentleman is only running it once, and the river comes the 3 of clubs. What a dealer.
Emotional damage.
All right, so here's a hand that I think I mucked up a little bit pre-flop. We're four-handed, playing 5-10. We are on a pretty short stack here of under $300, and we are under the gun holding the queen, jack, 8-7, suited to the jack and spades. And in this spot with this hand, we do have connectivity, four-handed, which is good. We do have a suit, which is nice as well. In this spot, I really don't like our limp here. We do wind up limping for $10. I think we should be raising in this spot. I think our hand four ways is strong enough, connected enough, and on our stack size, comfortable enough to go for it. But we make the limp, and the button's going to limp, and now an aggressive player with over 2,000 is going to raise it to $50 from the small blind. The big blind comes along, and again, I think I mucked this up. I think I should be repotting here and getting a heads up with some dead money on the short stack against this particular opponent. I don't take that line, though. I just make the call. The button comes along as well. So now we do have a spot where, the pot size is roughly a 1-to-1 stack to pot ratio compared to our $225. There's 200 in the pot, and it's going to come down 10-9-3 rainbow. So beautiful flop for our hand. We have flopped a monster draw. We can hit a king, a queen, a jack, an 8, a 7, a 6 to make the nuts. And we do have the backdoor spades as well. So the small blind and the big blind are going to check. This is our pot. Let's go. We bet the $200, and the button is going to shove. So I'm concerned. I'm running into a set here, or top two pair or something. But even against those hands, we have tons of outs, plenty of equity. So we're going to get it in, and our opponent is going to show us the queen 10-7-5. So he has flopped top pair, third kicker, and some backdoor straight draws, and that's about it. So pretty good spot for us. So not only did this guy limp a real trashy unsuited hand from the button, but then he called a big raise with it as well. And even though it's four-handed, I would not recommend playing his hand the way he played it pre-flop or the way he played it post-flop, shoving $700 here with just one pair. But that's what he did, and hey, he's trying to give us his money, and it looks like that's going to happen. Equity-wise, we have 68% equity. He has under 30% with 2.5% to tie. Could both make the same straight here. So anyway, this is fantastic spot. This gentleman only runs it once, so these are the spots you dream of, and how can we lose? So let's go to the turn. The turn's going to come the 4 of clubs. So unfortunately, that's not a ton of help here for us. It does give him a gut shot to the 6. to make a straight, which would not do him any good because we have the 7-8 in our hand, so that would give us the straight to the 10. So that's not an extra out for him. But in this spot, now on the turn, he has pulled ahead. He has 55% equity. We've got 45%. So we went from a monster favorite on the flop with roughly 70% equity. Now we are relatively coin flipping. So anyway, we still have decent equity here. Let's go to the river, which comes the 5 of clubs. And we are going to get scooped. He's going to river 2 pair. We miss all of our straight outs. Our huge wrap bumbles again. What a fucking dealer.
I don't have any money to go broke with. Don't understand how I lose every.
Oh my god.
I'm just fucking pissed off. I'm just not going my way. I didn't roll a 7 the entire game.
I cannot win all in pre-flop.
When I'm in dominating position, I lose. That was why you decided to go 2 rows.
I had red bouncing to black.
You're going home right now?
You're gonna go double broke?
I went broke 3 days ago.
We are 5-handed playing 5-10, sitting in the small blind on a stack of $900, and we look down at the ace, king, queen, suited to the ace and hearts. We do have 3 hearts in our hand. 2 players are going to limp. We limp along, and the big blind, who just can't help himself, is going to make it $50. The 2 limpers both call, and we are not having that. We are going to raise this up. So we pot it. We're going to make it $250. And now the initial raiser calls, and one of the original limpers calls as well. So we are looking at a pretty big pot right off the jump here. There's $800 out there. We have $650 left in our stack. We're going to go to the flop. The flop comes down king 7-5, 1 diamond, 2 clubs. Not really the best flop for our hand, but given the stack size compared to our pot size, we have to go with it. So we're going to shove. We're all in for $650. Both of our opponents are not going anywhere. They both get it in. And the original raiser is going to show up with the ace 7-6-6. Suited to the 7. So he raised with that, he called my limp repot with that, and now he's flopped a bad flush draw and middle pair and a backdoor straight draw and decided to go with it. Now, the other player I could forgive. The other player has a solid holding here, especially 5-handed. He's looking down at the ace-jack 10-3 with the nut clubs on this flop. So, in this spot, pre-flop, his play was fine. He could re-raise pre-flop if he wanted to as well, but definitely on this flop, he's not going anywhere where he has the nut draw. So, pre-flop, when we look at the equities, I was about 40% equity. Both of these players had about 30% each. Now, after this flop comes down, we are looking at 40% equity, and the ace-jack 10-3 has 40% equity. The ace-7-6-6 is at 18.5, give or take. So now we're going to go to the turn, which comes the 3 of clubs, and we are drawing dead. Our opponent with the ace-jack suited has made the nuts. The river comes down the 10 of diamonds, and we lose another big pot.
Serenity now! Serenity now!
In the 5-10, playing 5-handed, we're in the hijack. It folds to us, and we look down at the king 10, 9-8 double suited in hearts and clubs. And you can raise here. Given the aggressiveness of these players, I was going for the limp repot. Unfortunately, we do limp in, and nobody takes the bait, and the button's going to fold. The small blind completes, and the big blind checks his option. So now we're going 3 ways to a flop. The flop comes down queen 6-4 with the 6-4 of hearts and the queen of clubs. So we do have the second nut flush draw. We do have some backdoor straight draws and the backdoor clubs as well. Now the small blind is going to lead out for $30 here, and the big blind is going to fold. And in this spot, I'm just going to call. We don't really have a made hand here, but we have a pretty strong draw. And if he's betting a flush draw, ours is most likely better than his 5-handed. If we run into the ace high flush draw, we're going to go broke. It's the way it is. But our hand is strong enough that we're going to make the call. We're on a relatively short stack, a little bit over 600 here. So we call the $30. And the turn comes down the jack of diamonds. Now our opponent checks to us, and we picked up a ton of equity here. We now have a complete wrap straight draw. So we can hit an ace. We can hit a king. We can hit a 10. We can hit a 9. We can hit an 8. So Beautiful turn card for us. Now we not only have the flush draw, but we also have the straight draw as well. And where our opponent checks, he could have been drawing and he whiffed. Now he's kind of slowing down. So we're going to bet the full pot here. We want to charge him for whatever draw he may have. If he's got some type of two pair or, a flush draw that's no good, we want to put as much money in the pot as possible. So we bet the full pot of $90. He's going to make the call. And the river comes down the 5 of diamonds. So it completely misses us. We don't even have a pair. And our opponent donks into us for $74. A really small bet compared to the pot size here. And it's kind of an odd spot, but in this spot I either have to shove and I hope he doesn't look me up, or I just have to give it up. And I wasn't sure. It's possible that he had some type of straight draw on the flop. We have the top end with the 8-9, so we block some of the cards that hit the 6-4, but not on the lower end. So you could raise here and hope you're good and try to take the pot away, and I think that's fine in some instances. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it in this spot, and I decided to fold. But I'd love to see what everyone else thinks. What you do in this spot, if you attack his small bet here, or if you just give it up.
Hey, baby, how about a little tongue action, huh?
Yeah, stick your tongue down his throat.
What are we gonna do? Should we just move?
It won't be necessary. Shut your trunks and stop kicking the seats! We're trying to watch the movie! And if I have to tell you again, we're gonna take it outside and I'm gonna show you what it's like! You understand me? Now shut your mouths or I'll shut them for you. And if you think I'm kidding, just try me. Try me. Because I would love it!
Playing 5-10, we are 5-handed in the big blind, holding the ace-10 of diamonds and a pair of eights. The straddle is on here to $20. The button is going to come along. The small blind is going to come along as well. In this spot, I could make a raise here, but I expect that sometimes people who like to straddle are aggressive, and they tend to take advantage of people just limping in and repot it. So we're hoping that might happen. We can, on our shorter stack here at a 5-10 game, we have roughly a little bit under $600. We could, he raises, two people call, we limp repot and play for stacks with a, decent hand that has suitedness, high cards, connectedness, a pair. But unfortunately, he's going to check his options. So we are going 4 ways to a flop. And what a flop it is. It comes down 9-7 deuce with the 9-7 of diamonds. So we have flopped the nut flush draw, and we flopped the open-ended straight draw, and we do have a blocker on the straights with 2 of the 8s in our hand. So the small blind is going to check over to us. This is our pot. We're betting $80. We're betting the full pot. If they want to play, let's go. The original straddler is going to fold, and now we get some interesting news. The button decides to repot to $320. The small blind's going to get out of the way, and we're not going anywhere on our stack with a hand this big and a draw this big. So we do make the call. We are all in, and we are up against it a little bit. We're looking at the 9-9-7-3 in our opponent's hand. So they have flop top set, but they do have a 7 blocking themselves from making the full house. So equity-wise, we are not doing as well as I would normally think in this spot. Our opponent is around 58% equity. We're around 42%. So he has us in pretty rough shape here, and he's only running once, which is actually a little bit beneficial for us because it's going to be hard for us to win it twice. So we're going to go to a turn which comes down the king of diamonds, bingo, bango, bongo, and we do make the nuts. Now we just have to fade the board pairing on the river. And we do. The 8 comes on the river, giving us a meaningless set, and we're finally gonna take one down.
The very last hand.
I'm the best! The best! Yes! The best!
This was a painful episode to produce. Lots of spots where I get it in as an equity favorite and I get crushed, or I have almost the entire deck as outs and somehow manage to miss. But, the only time I managed to win this episode was when I got my money in behind. So if you can't beat them, join them seems to be the motto of this one. I appreciate any comments or questions you may have. Feel free to leave them below. Hello again, surfers. And, I'm happy to respond. I may mention you in a future video as well, your question and, your name. And again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.